Hi guys, I literally just sat down to do my makeup, did my primer, eyebrows, and color correction, and just got hit with a hot flash, so give me a second while I cool down. I'm looking a little busted today, just took off a wig because I had it on for a week. It was the blonde wig. I finally got it cut and styled, so it's looking real cute, but that lace was crusty, so I just took it off. Yeah, hi. I'm going to fan myself a little bit. Hi. So I can cool down. It's been a minute, and a lot of things have happened, and we're going to talk about it. So some of the things I'm going to mention are about me personally, and then I'm just going to talk about current events. Now, I'm not going to be political. I'm not going to be referring to Republicans or Democrats. I'm just going to be stating facts and my opinion on the current state of the United States of America. So, just trigger warning. If you don't want to hear my opinions, just click off now. This may not be the video for you. And this is probably not going to be the only video where I'm going to be talking about things, because usually I try to keep it to the makeup, but I think we're past the point where, well, I'm past the point. I can't speak for anyone else, but I'm past the point where I can't come on and talk about it. I'm past that point. So, yeah, so I'm gonna try to keep it as neutral as possible. But we are going to be talking about current events, which is, I'm sure, heavy on a lot of our minds. So, I feel cool now, so let's get started. Everything I'm using will be listed down below in the description box per usual. Once again, here's your chance to click out now, because I am going to be talking about current events in the United States of America. And if you care about what I have to say, then stick around, enjoy the makeup, and if not, maybe just put me on mute or just click out of the video. Okay, so I usually just post things on Instagram. And if you go over to my Instagram, you can, it all started with, I was posting, you know, things about myself, my baking and stuff like that. And then Alex Pretty got shot. Now, I'll be the first to admit, I wasn't following anything, okay? I didn't hear about Renee Good's death until after Alex Pretty died. And there was another death. I can't even remember. I think his name was Kyle. But I'm just going to be real. I only heard about those two. And I was like, what? No, bro. This can't be real. This is... what? So I was just in my own little bubble until the Alex Pretty, I'm going to call it what I think it is, which is murder. So the Alex Pretty murder. And then I started following the stories. That's when I learned about Renee Good. And I think there was like 8 other people that have been assaulted or killed by ICE agents. But I only know of the 2 recent ones, like their names by heart. So I started following, and I got mad. And I got mad because of the, how do I want to put this? I got mad because instead of telling the truth, I'm just going to say it how I see it. Instead of telling the truth, the U.S. government attempted to say that Alex Pretty did something in order to get shot. First it was, oh, he pulled out a gun. I watched all of those videos, okay? I watched all of them. from every different angle. It wasn't until the lady in the pink, I think she was wearing a pink coat when her video came out, that I was like, oh, this is the one right here. This shows everything. I did not see at any point a weapon being displayed or brandished by Alex Pretty. Yes, it turned out he was armed, but he lived in Minnesota, and that's an open carry state. He was permitted to have that weapon. Okay, so that was the first thing that got me heated. The flat out lie by Kristi Noem. And then they were speaking on his intent as well, which you can't speak on a person's intent based on them having a weapon, because then it goes back to Kyle Rittenhouse, who the same people were praising for, you know, keeping the peace with a weapon, you know, a good guy with a gun. So that's where it started. And then it was the rhetoric that he was a domestic terrorist, and that's when I heard about Renee Good, and the same thing, how the officer, how the story was that the officer was run over by the car that she was attempting to run the officer over. And I watched that video. Unfortunately, I think there's only like one view of that, because I don't think they really, I don't even know if that officer had a body camera, but I only saw the one view of it, and that got me heated too, because the man walked away. She didn't run him over. You can literally see him walk away while people yell, "Don't let the murderer get away." Okay? So then I started questioning everything, because no, that would be a lie. I was about to say, no time in my life did I ever doubt the government. No, that would be a lie. I've doubted the government. But never have I ever heard the government literally tell me what I should be seeing. And that struck me some kind of way. It would strike me any kind of way, whether if I supported the administration or not. If you're going to tell me that I see something that I clearly don't see, or something happened that clearly didn't happen, you know, there's a problem there. So, that was that. And then I just started going on Instagram, and, you know, scrolling through all of the stories and everybody's opinions and stuff, and reposted things. And then that's when TikTok got, sorry, I need to be doing my makeup. That's when TikTok got bought. I can't remember who bought it, but it used to be a Chinese-owned brand, and you could post anything. Mainly you had to, you know, post like dance. It used to be like dance videos. Basically, you could post anything. If there was an audience for it, you could post anything. There was pretty much no censorship. But then it gets bought by this American guy, and their terms and conditions change. So people were on Instagram were like, make sure you read your terms and conditions so you know exactly what you're signing up to. You know, what you're saying you're okay with them doing. And the terms and conditions had changed to where they would document, you know, the normal stuff, like if you were male or female, and, you know, your FYP and stuff like that. But then it's like, and your age. But then they were talking about ethnicity and, you know, reporting it to the federal government. I can't remember the exact wordage, but I looked it up. And I wasn't okay with that, knowing what was going on. So and then on top of that, people on Instagram, or people on, Instagram that were on TikTok were saying that they are being censored when it comes to anything having to do with saying things against what the government was saying. So if you were trying to say that, if you were trying to give a different viewpoint of what the government was saying, your video wasn't getting taken down, but it wasn't being distributed. So there was an example of one person saying that their views on their videos, I guess we can call them political videos, I don't know. Because at this point, I don't think it's political anymore. I think it's more of a human rights thing. But let's just say political because I don't know the terminology. I can't think of any other term to use. So they were saying that their videos went from being viewed to like 0 views in a couple of hours. So that was strange. And I wasn't posting anything besides makeup on TikTok, and I wasn't watching anything besides makeup on TikTok. But when I read the terms and conditions, I was not comfortable with that. It seemed very Big Brother to me. And I decided to delete TikTok. And I'm not going to lie, I kind of miss it because I love watching my people get ready in the morning and do all their makeup stuff and talk about their life and stuff like that. But I can't, I refuse to, I refuse to participate in that. In using people's data and sending it to the federal government. So, there was that. And then, how else? And I'm trying to remember how else it progressed. And I've just been posting my stuff, posting videos about what the current administration said they were running on and stuff. Oh, right, the Epstein files, right. And then those 3 million documents landed. The Epstein files had been, coming out. I wasn't really following, but I'm following now because, I read some of the Epstein files. Like, I took a good, hour and a half, 2 hours to go through some of those files. And it was frustrating that a lot of it was redacted, but there are testimonies of people saying some horrific things. There's emails and all that jazz. And then, because previously I had watched the congressional hearing where the Oversight Committee for the FBI, and Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, and they were like, we're not going to tell you shit. And that's what Pam said, basically. She's like, I'm not going to discuss that with you, Senator. And then Kash Patel was like, there's no credible evidence linking anybody in the Epstein files. And then I look for it myself, and I'm like, you don't think you should probably be, asking this person questions when they're talking about their littlest girl was so naughty, or a new Brazilian, which is, 9 years old, or babies taste like cream cheese? You don't think that's a little... You don't think you should follow up with that? Once again, I personally don't think it's a political thing anymore. When it comes to pedophilia, I don't fuck around, okay? Shit. Whether you have kids or don't have kids, nobody should be playing around when it comes to pedophilia. Children are the most innocent thing. They don't know yet. Most of them, hopefully they don't. When they don't know the horrors of this world. We need to protect that at all costs, And then, so that was that. Saw the Epstein files, right? And I have a guilty pleasure. I watch Piers Morgan. Don't judge me. I watch clips of Piers Morgan's show. The man, he's a pot stirrer. I know that. But that's part of how he gets his rating. It's kind of like Fox News, where they'll kind of tell about the news. CNN does it too. But they'll dramatize it with their headline, with the thing scrolling across the screen, and it gets you feeling some type of way, right? So I watch Piers Morgan, and he had referenced Megyn Kelly. So then I went to go see Megyn Kelly's clip, and that just got me fuming too. Where she was saying Jeffrey Epstein isn't a pedophile because he wasn't going after little girls. He was going after underage women. I'll say it again. Jeffrey Epstein wasn't a pedophile because he wasn't going after little girls. He was only attracted to underage women. Megyn Kelly said that. Don't quote me. I'm paraphrasing. But that's pretty much what she said. Megyn Kelly, who once upon a time I thought was standing up for SA. Because that's why she left her job on mainstream media, right? Or mainstream news network. Because she was getting sexually harassed or something. So, and now that same woman is talking about there's a difference between a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old. Gotcha. Okay, gotcha. So that right there, I was like, well, cross MEGYN out because she obviously, I don't know if she, I don't know. I don't know if these people understand the words that are coming out of their own mouths, but that struck me as wrong. Now, if you agree with Megyn Kelly, just don't subscribe to my channel, don't watch me, don't interact with me, because there's something wrong with you. If you think that having sexual relations with a 5-year-old is different than having sexual relations with a 15-year-old, that one of them is wrong and one of them is okay, we have nothing in common, bro. So, okay. So then she said that, and then that kind of like the Epstein files went away, because then Venezuela, Maduro got, you know, kidnapped from his home country while he was lying in his bed. And then Trump said it was all about the oil. Congress was like, or some of his, I don't know if it was Congress, but some of the Congress people were like, oh, it's not about the oil. But Trump's on Air Force One saying it's all about the oil, right? And then he's calling people piggy and stuff like that. I got used to that. And I shouldn't have gotten used to it. I got desensitized to him talking down to people. But I'm woke up. I'm woke the fuck up again, because that's just wrong. It doesn't, I don't care if you do it once or that's your mantra, talk down to people, especially women. It's not okay. Anyway, so it was about the oil. And then I was following that for a while. Learned some stuff. I don't know if this is true. So I'm not going to, I don't know if a lot of stuff is true. The things I'm speaking about, I've done some research on, like watch the news, not just got it off of social media. So, you know, there's speculation about where the money for that oil is going and who knew about the operation before it was going to happen. But once again, I didn't do any research on that. All I know is that the president of Venezuela was taken out of his bed by U.S. military and brought up to the United States for crimes against something. Okay. And it was about the oil. So there's that. And then what else happened? There's just been a lot of stuff happening that I've been following, but I hadn't heard anything about, you know, the Epstein thing, like lately, like anyone really talking about it. And then I think the next thing I remember is Super Bowl announcement. Bad Bunny. Now, I don't give a fuck who plays at the Super Bowl. Okay? I don't care. You can, I don't know, because I based on the past, the NFL has never put anyone on there that stands for anything, how do I want to put it? I've never gotten the feeling from the Super Bowl that they had an agenda, right? It was, you know, good time, American football, all that jazz. Because when I saw the reaction, when they said Bad Bunny was, you know, I didn't know who Bad Bunny was. I'm just going to be real with you. But that didn't bother me. I don't need to know the artist in order to be like, oh, he shouldn't be playing the Super Bowl. I don't know who he is. Like, what? Anyway, he's from Puerto Rico. I learned that. And he just won a Grammy. I think, and it's the first time in Grammy history, don't quote me on this, but I think it's the first time in Grammy history that an all-Spanish album has won a Grammy. Because his first language is Spanish, because he lives in Puerto Rico. So I was like, oh, hell yeah, Breaking Barry, like, do your thing, okay? Good for him, because apparently he was bagging groceries 10 years ago. Now, I remember he was at the 2020 Super Bowl, because I remember that one because it was J-Lo and Shakira, and I love me some Shakira, okay? So Shakira had brought him out, and I didn't know who he was at the time, but then when I, did my research on who Bad Bunny was, this was not the first time he was at the Super Bowl. So once again, I'm trying to figure out why people so mad. Why people so mad? And then I was reading posts. Oh, and when you post, my Instagram and my Facebook are linked. So when I post on Instagram, it goes on Facebook. So I was just posting, why is everyone so mad that a Spanish-speaking American is going to be the halftime show? Why are people mad? And some people said they weren't mad. And then other people said I can't enjoy it because I don't understand the language. And then I saw other people that were saying he's not American. And that's when I was like, red flags, red flags. Racism, red flags. Puerto Rico is indeed part of America. No, they cannot vote in general elections or the presidency. But they do pay into Social Security, and the United States governments give them money to take care of their infrastructure. If you remember, it was a while ago. I can't remember when, but they had a huge hurricane, and the mainland United States sent funds to Puerto Rico to get their stuff back together. So, anyway, that struck me as very racist because he is indeed American. So then, I got heated. I got real heated because what's going on with, ICE and the videos I've been watching about ICE, watching testimony from people that were unlawfully abducted by ICE and their experience, okay, and watching these videos about ICE, pulling people out of cars, telling people you don't sound like me, so you must be illegal. That got me real, I'm getting hot just talking about it, you all. Ooh. Anyway, so, I started posting my opinions, and I said, what is the problem with a Spanish-speaking American doing the Super Bowl? And like I said, some people said it was fine. Some people said I can't understand. Some people said he's not American. And I checked the people that said he wasn't American, because I'm not the type that's going to, you came on my post to say something, so I'm going to make sure you have all the facts, right? And then this is where it gets personal. Oh, right. Before I say that, then Turning Point USA, the Charlie Kirk organization. So they're huge, okay? And I'm not going to sit on here and say they stand for anything in particular. I disagree with their messaging. I can see who they're trying to, or I can see the audience that their message is hitting. I was not celebrating Charlie Kirk's death, whether I agreed with the man or not. I think all human life, whether you share the same ideas that I do, he was just utilizing his First Amendment, and he can do that. Granted, some of the things he was saying, I disagreed with wholeheartedly, but he wasn't harming anybody. He wasn't putting crosses in people's yards. He wasn't lynching people. He wasn't saying go shoot people in the streets, right? He just said that he likes guns, and gun violence is just a runoff of the Second Amendment. Gun violence is gonna happen because we have guns, and we should just get over it. Once again, I don't agree with that. But he wasn't harming anybody. I mean, some people might say he's harming the youth of America, but once again, physically, he's not harming anybody. He's using his First Amendment. So I was not happy when he died. I was not celebrating because the man had a family. He had a wife. He had 2 innocent kids. He might have had an agenda, and his wife might be having an agenda, but his children we should not be celebrating that his children are not going to grow up with their father. Point blank period. Once again, if you disagree with me, you can just go that way. Okay. So then that happened. And then Nicki Minaj was on there. I fuck with Nicki Minaj, okay? Her little... I mean, I was fucking with her hard. I love me some Nicki Minaj, okay? And over the years, she's been, you know, kind of... her ideas and philosophies have no longer aligned with mine. So I stopped listening. But wasn't paying Nicki Minaj no attention. Saw her little, you know, Twitter feud with Cardi B and some other people. But then I see her on the Turning Point USA stage talking about how let boys be boys. Which, what I heard was, it's okay that your boys essay. That's what I heard. Because that phrasing, and this is an opinion I'm about to say here. This is an opinion. This is not a fact. But that phrasing is like a dog whistle in my brain. Saying, keep doing your thing, men. Keep doing your thing. You know? And then she basically, her whole premise was, you know, being trans is, you know, instead of just saying it's not my fucking business, she's basically, you know, playing into the, and this is all opinion based off what I heard, what I'm hearing her say. My brain is interpreting that instead of minding her own fucking business and going home to her husband, you know, and supporting her, you know, brother, instead of minding her own fucking business, she's talking about other people's lives and how they're wrong. How it's wrong to be them. So, I don't stand behind that. Obviously, I don't. I mean, maybe it's not obvious, but I don't stand behind that. So, once again, check Nicki off the list, cross her out. Let me know if you get that reference. Oh, Nicki's crossed out. So, there was that. And I'm like, okay. Damn. Now I have my own personal thoughts about why they chose Nicki. I have my personal thoughts. Because I found it strange that this just happened. She made her, you know, debut with TPUSA after Candace Owens has been going, you know, very openly saying she disagrees with what TPUSA is doing and the route that they're going is wrong. I just found it a little strange that all of a sudden Nicki Minaj is all up there like, hey guys, let boys be boys. JD Vance is an assassin. President Trump is such a handsome man. I mean, anyway, those were all just opinions, by the way. Okay, so back to the timeline. Now we're talking facts again. So after that, what happened after that? Oh man. Oh, she had that dinner or speech or whatever with Donald Trump. And then she was showing off on X her gold card, and everybody was going crazy. Like, we knew it, because Nicki Minaj is not a legal not a documented U.S. citizen. She's not. So she even said in her own words that she came from Trinidad when she was very young. I think her parents brought her over, and hasn't gone through the process of becoming an American citizen. Which also, I was like, how are you going to talk about how are you going to point fingers when the call is coming from inside the house, girl? Like, anyway. So there's that. Anyway, she was showing off her gold card on X. And I'm like, oh. So he gave her a citizenship. He didn't. The White House came out and said that's just a souvenir. Okay? So, I don't know if she knew that. I don't know. Because if it's just a souvenir, why would you be touting it on X so proudly? So I'm thinking she didn't know it was a souvenir. But, yeah, so there's that. And then other celebrities were coming out. There was the Grammys, ice out pins, all that jazz. And then Billie Eilish said no one is illegal on stolen land. Let me give, I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it. I agree what was done to Native Americans is horrific. But this is my thoughts on knowing what I know about history and how the future, since then, how the future has been going. The Native Americans are never going to get back the Americas, let alone the United States of America. Too much colonization has happened. Too much disenfranchisement has happened. The only thing that we, as people who are not Native Americans, can do is make sure that we support policies that don't take away any more of their land. Because right now there's reservations all across the U.S. And that's just my opinion on it. Native Americans it's never going to be the same way. It's never going to be, on the average person is not going to say, I'm on native land right now. We're all on native land. Looking at history neutrally, without shame, Native Americans' land was taken by colonialists. And that's just a fact of it. And it's never going to go back. The United States government is never going to say, our bad, here, you can have it all back, all of our taxes and money and stuff like that. It's going to go to you because it's never going to happen. So, yes, it's a controversial take. Do I agree wholeheartedly with that? No one is illegal on stolen land? No. Because we have a constitution. In that constitution, there are articles that state that if you come into the America illegally, that it's a misdemeanor. It's not a felony, but it is against the law. So, and I don't think that, because people were saying, oh, well, let's run up on Billie Eilish's house. She'll just let us in because, she's on stolen land too. That's not where my brain goes with that. I'm not going to, I will 100% use my Second Amendment if someone's trying throwing up in my house. So, yeah. So I understand what she was trying to do there. However, I think it needed more of an explanation rather than just a flat out statement, in my opinion. So, yeah. Where was I? We were talking about the Grammys, Ice Out, all that jazz. Okay, right. So, when it comes to celebrities and what they stand for, I applaud them. I applaud them because a lot of people have been, a lot of celebrities have been talking about what's going on with Israel and Palestine and genocide. I haven't looked into it. I'm going to be real with you. I have not done any research about what's happening with Gaza and Israel, and I don't know what half of it means. And that's the truth. So I leave I don't have a stance on it because I don't know anything. So, but people that have done their research and have outright said they don't believe in genocide. I mean, I don't need to know what's going on to know that genocide is wrong. So I'm against genocide, but I don't know what is happening in the first place. People are saying it's a genocide, but I haven't looked into it myself, but I'm against genocide. So anyway, so I like when celebrities, stand up for things that are obviously wrong. Those ice out pins, Now I'm going to say this is going to be controversial too. This is a long video. I'm sorry, you guys. This is going to be controversial too. I do not support the dissolution of ice. Let me explain. Ice has been around since the 90s. What ice looks like and what they do, or I should say how they do it, has changed. Ice has never been masked, unidentified individuals coming up to random people at gas stations asking to see their papers. ICE has always operated under warrants. You're looking for specific people. You're just not on the street, you know, saying, oh, that looks like an illegal immigrant. I mean, what? I mean, when you say it like that, does that make sense to you? No, it shouldn't make sense to you. And if it makes sense to you, leave. Because we're in America. You can't go anywhere in the world. We're in the United States of America. I'm pretty sure, let me think, maybe Britain? No, yeah, I don't know. America, United States of America, is not defined by one skin tone, one language, one religion. None of that. So you can't look at someone that looks different than you and say they're illegal. You can't do that. It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, so I support ICE. I don't support this current iteration of it. I support deportation, but I also support dignity and due process. Okay? So, once again, that's my explanation. So if you're looking for me to say to abolish ICE, I will say abolish this current iteration of ICE. What they're doing or how they're doing their job is wrong. And then I got in once again, I post a whole bunch on Instagram and Facebook now. Facebook I wasn't too into, but then people started responding to me. And then I had to go, once again, I'm not the type that's just going to be like, oh, okay. Especially when it's something I feel strongly about. And using 5-year-olds, to try to get their family to come out of a house and then taking that 5-year-old way across the country to a place he doesn't know in a detention center, that doesn't sit right with me. Or detaining an autistic boy who is special needs, detaining him, keeping him away from his family for, what was it, like 15 days or something? Ripping people out of their cars, okay? Threatening people that I'm going to do this to you if you don't do this. Or stop doing this. I do not support that. I don't support that. But getting back to the celebrity thing, I am happy that celebrities are standing up, because the reality is they have more of a platform than most Americans or most people in general, wherever, if you're a celebrity here in the United States or you're a celebrity in Canada or in France or somewhere like that, they have a lot more eyes on them than the average human being. So when they take a stance, people take notice. And I just think back to Rose McGowan. You remember her? She's the one. I think she was the one. Once again, I can't remember the specifics, but I followed this story too. You remember Harvey Weinstein? She was the one that I don't think she broke the story, but I think she was the one who pretty much started it. Started the eyeballs looking sideways like, oh shit, right? She lost everything. I don't know if it's because she wanted to stop acting, but she lost everything. And I don't think that that's right. I don't think standing up for something that is obviously wrong, like people, okay, or using your power over people to get them to do things they don't want to do, I don't think that's right. And I think when you stand up for it, you earn a special place in heaven. Those are my thoughts. Okay, those are my thoughts. So I just look at it and I think to myself, I have to remember that these are the same people that knew about Harvey Weinstein. So maybe it's to the point where people aren't scared anymore, where they're like, Rose did it. We should have been done it. Let me put this out here so everyone knows where I stand. I don't know. I don't know their intentions, but I'm happy that they're doing it. And I hope that nobody gets, it's not retribution, retaliation for doing it. Even though I did notice that Disney separated from Mark Ruffalo. But then they said he wasn't in the next movies anyway. And Mark Ruffalo didn't say he was fired. He just said they're no longer working together, but he would come back if they asked him to. So, I don't know. But Disney has a habit of, you know, acting before thinking, like they did with Johnny Depp. Just putting it out there. You remember Johnny Depp and Amber Heard, right? So, but Disney is a big corporation. They have a lot of money and they have a lot of ties to people. So, I'm not sure. I'm not sure what they thought, what they are thinking. But it's looking pretty suspicious to me. Let me blend this out. So, yeah, I just have to, like, you know, before I'm like, oh, hell yeah, celebrities do it. These are the same people that knew about Harvey Weinstein. So, but I'm happy that the celebrities that have come out and are wearing their little ice out and be pretty good pins, I'm happy they're doing that. So, where was I at? I was talking about celebrities. Talking about Bad Bunny. Right. Okay. So then, people were commenting on my posts that were on Facebook. And like I said, I am not the type who's just, you coming to my page saying something, you gonna get it back. We're gonna have a conversation. So, one person, and if you want to know who it is, just go on my Facebook or whatever. But, one person basically was saying, because I posted that the president is racist. I believe that with my whole soul. And this happened after, he's done this several times. He's got this thing with the Obamas and Biden. I don't know why. But he's got this thing with those two, with the Obamas, mainly the Obamas, and then Biden. Anyway, he posted that video as him as the king of the jungle. And then, you know, there were, you know, some commentators on there that he doesn't like. And Kamala was on there as a turtle. But at the end, he has Michelle and Barack as apes. So, you know, it's out there. It's out there. Everyone sees it. So then Caroline Leavitt, who's the White House speaker, or not White House speaker, but the, is it press secretary? Is that her official? I think that's what you call her, the press secretary. She comes out and says, fake outrage. It's just from the Lion King. That's what she says. Now this woman has children. And I'm sure she's seen the Lion King. Ain't no apes besides Rafiki up in the Lion King. Maybe she was thinking about Tarzan, because Tarzan has apes in it. But she specifically said the Lion King. Once again. I mean, I know that a lot of the things that come out of her mouth are twisty-turny. They look like those little noodles that have all those twists in it. But that's her job. That's her job. Every press secretary is up there lying for somebody. You know, they are. They lie. All politicians lie. But what you lie about, I think, is what separates you. So in past administrations, even when Trump was president the first time, I don't think Sarah Huckabee Sanders lied as much as Caroline Leavitt does, or lies as boldly. But then again, President Trump was as bad as he was, you know, his first term as he is this term. There's a lot of shit going on this time around. Anyway, so she says it's from Lion King. Ain't no apes in the Lion King. Okay. So right there, red flag. The man's racist. The man's racist. And here's the thing. Someone posted, you know, tell me in your own words how he's racist. Now, I could have went on and on and on. So I'm going to tell you what I told this person. And then I'm going to add on to it. So I told this person that the imagery of the ape has been used since slavery to depict Black people as subhuman. This has been used in, this has been used to make Black people, make them less worthy, make their value less than a white person. It was used in pamphlets, cartoons, you know, things like that. And it was done this way because if you feel like someone is subhuman, you don't have to give them the same decent human respect that you have to do to somebody else. That's when you see them as something less than human, it's easier to do terrible things to them. So that's me summarizing what I said. Once again, it's on my Facebook if you want to see. I could have went into Donald Trump has been alive long enough to know this. Okay? He's been alive long enough to know this. We're less than, I think, damn. What was it? 64 Civil Rights Act or something, and desegregation was around the 50s and 60s. The point is, he knows that it means something. Now, he'll go on and say, because he's done this before, oh, I didn't see the whole thing. Woo, 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 woo. This time around, the White House comes out once they see that their first story is not going with the Lion King thing. Oh, it was a staffer. No-name staffer. No-name staffer. I think you see where I'm going with this. At no time did they say that it was wrong, right? President is interviewed on Air Force One, says that he saw it and sent it to his team. Granted, he said he saw the beginning of it, but then it's up to his team, right? This is what he's saying. Then it's up to his team to determine, you know, if it's going to be posted or not. That's, you know, he's putting it off on people, right? What you should be asking yourself, because he's done this before in his first presidency when he was putting out some racial bullshit, that it was a staffer. 2 questions you should be asking yourself. Number 1, how does a random no-name staffer have access to the President of the United States' social media? Okay. Number 2, why was that, if this actually happened, and that's a big if, why was that person not fired? So either it didn't happen the way you said it happened, or you support what that no-name staffer posted. Okay? The president is a racist. Now, I'm not saying you're a racist if you voted for him. And I posted this too. I'm not saying you're a racist if you voted for him. I'm saying that it says a lot about what you're willing to tolerate. And I'm not one of the people that is willing to tolerate it. Okay? So then there was that. So I've just been really active. I've been really, really active on my Instagram and Facebook, putting out facts and my interpretations of the facts. Because there's a lot of ways to interpret reality. Interpret reality. A lot of it is skewed. You know, I don't want to say, like, facts are facts, but the way people look at the facts can be skewed and manipulated by life experiences and people's morals. Right? So the Bad Bunny this is Tuesday today. So Bad Bunny performed on Sunday, Super Bowl Sunday. Went off without a hitch. Symbolism, loved it. Couldn't understand a word the man was saying, but I took the time to look up the lyrics, right? It was great, right? He wasn't singing about anything no one else hasn't sung about before. And then at the end of it, he said in English, so a majority of, the United States of America could understand that God bless America. And it was on a sign at the Super Bowl. The only thing that can conquer hate is love, or something like that. Basically, love conquers all. People are angry about that. If he was so inclusive and unifying, why would he sing in Spanish? Why would he sing in Spanish? Not a lot of people speak Spanish. So? I saw your ass bopping to the Macarena back in the 90s. So? So? What? So? If you want to know what he's saying, look up the lyrics. Like I did. You know whose lyrics I also looked up? Kid Rock. Nah, shit. I posted this too. I'll be the first to admit I was bopping to Kid Rock, okay? Ba with the ba. Ba with the ba, the bang, the bang. When I was a teenager, that was a hit. And then that one song where he's talking about in Southern Michigan, or Northern Michigan, we were tasting funny things. We were dancing to our favorite song. Like, I fucked with Kid Rock, okay? I fucked with Kid Rock up until people were like, he's got some shady lyrics. And I know Kid Rock he's kind of been in and out of the political spectrum for a while. I know he was representing MAGA. But the man's got to make some money, right? I don't think he said anything. I did not know that he had said anything racially controversial or sexually controversial. Well, I shouldn't say sexually controversial, but things that is going to make you stop and say, what? Okay. So then people were like, go check out this lyric. Go check out these lyrics. It was like some collab he did with JJ Cool, right? I can't remember the song name. But if you look at the lyrics, he's literally talking about underage girls and how he's okay with that. And then, of course, once people were like, oh, shit, then a whole bunch of other stuff came out where he was on a show talking about the Olsen twins. Now, if you are my age, because I'm 40, the Olsen twins, every creep was waiting for them to turn 18. They had a countdown for these girls to turn 18. Let me keep doing my makeup. How sick is that? We lived through that, and we were okay with that at the time. When I look back at it now, as an adult, damn, y'all are some fucking creeps. So he was on a show, and he's like, I don't know why everybody's waiting for them to turn 18, because and then he was like, hey, if there's grass on the field, play ball. What? Are you high? Because a lot of Kid Rock is known for drug use, which I'm not saying drug use is, it is, it can be a bad thing, but he must have been on something when he said that, or he meant it. So I don't know. You writing songs about liking underage girls, and you saying stuff like that on national television. And I think it wouldn't have been so bad if he had said something, but he's just ignoring it. He's not saying those lyrics were terrible. I was higher than I should not have written that. I don't believe in that. He hasn't said any of that. Instead, while the Epstein files are still being, released, and everybody is, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people are speculating that the president is a pedophile. Can I say that on YouTube? Oh, well, I just said it. He's over there singing the All-American halftime show. All-American. remember, this is in direct competition with Bad Bunny, who is also an American, but he's not white. And English is not his first language. And he doesn't sing about underage girls. And then someone posted, you know, the backgrounds of Bad Bunny and Kid Rock and how they both, you know, came from middle-class families. They both had, you know, their jobs while they were growing up, and then they became these huge superstars. Now, I'm not going to take anything away from Kid Rock, like some other people have done. However, I think they both have achieved what they see as the American dream. Right? However, Bad Bunny did it without saying that underage girls, some call it statutory, I call it mandatory. He may sing about women, sex, drugs, and love, but nowhere is it talking about underage girls. Okay? Now, here's my opinion. If Kid Rock was smart, which he's obviously not, because then he goes on Fox News and talks about Jay-Z and stuff like that. I would be trying to separate myself from that song as much as possible. Whether that's what I would be doing. Once again, unless you wrote it, were proud of it, and meant it. I would be separating myself from those, you know, those TV interviews that I did back in the day. Unless I said it, meant it, and I still mean it to this day. That I'm proud of it. I can't support that. Because people make mistakes. As far as we know, Kid Rock has never played out what he says in his music, right? I mean, this is an opinion, but I would say a lot of people that, you know, brag about having sex with a lot of women, a lot of, you know, rappers and pop stars and stuff like that, I'd like to think it's just music, that they're not really out here, you know, I mean, maybe they are, but those are grown women. Okay? Those are grown women. Not underage girls. So he's not doing that. And then he says some shit about Jay-Z. I didn't follow up on that, but, that's why I didn't follow the Turning Point USA halftime show. Do I think it has underlying racist messaging? I do. Do I think everybody who performed on that show, do I think they're all racist? No. And I don't think everybody that's in Turning Point USA is racist. I think some of them are there. I don't know about the participants, but the people that are performing, I think they're there for the money. I think they're there for the money. I would like to think that they're not racist, because I'm not the type of person that thinks everyone who is lighter than me and of the white race, I don't think every white person is racist. I know for a fact not every white person is racist. So, no, I don't think they're racist. And once again, that might be controversial. It might be like, Connie, the writing's on the wall. I don't interpret it that way. A lot of people do stuff for a buck. And it may not be until later that they realize, oh shit, I probably shouldn't have done that. You know? Another thing I'm going to say that might be controversial is that I don't think, now this is just an opinion. This is just an opinion. But I don't think that bigotry is solely placed at white people's feet. I think racism, as subconscious as it might be in some people, we've all heard it. Maybe we've seen something or heard something. I know I have from my own family. From my own family, talking about black people. And I'm half black. Half of my family is black. Okay? And the other half is Hispanic. So yes, I have heard Hispanic family members talk about black people and talk about stereotypes of black people and why they're no good and stuff like that. So I have seen firsthand that it's not just white people that can be racist toward other races. Okay? That's my example. I don't know. So that's why I have my thought, because I have lived it. Okay? So, might be controversial, but that's my explanation as to why I think that. So, boom. Bad Bunny's over, TPUSA. Halftime show is over. Boom, right? Okay, so here's the aftermath. You know, people are high. I was high. I was high off the vibes on Monday. Let me tell you, I can't speak a lick of Spanish, but I had turned on Bad Bunny. I was like, oh, this got a bop. You know, I don't need to understand the language in order to appreciate the music. If I really care, I will look at the lyrics. If I really am into it, I will look at the lyrics. But I was doing my little shoulder pops and stuff like that on Monday morning. I'm like, damn. You know, that was hot. And then remember I said I follow Piers Morgan. So he's got Megyn Kelly on. I see this clip with Megyn Kelly. And this woman, like, tell me you're racist without being racist. Tell me you're racist without saying you're racist. That's what I meant to say. Tell me you're racist without saying you're racist. She was going off. Check it out on YouTube. I'll leave the link down below. She I thought that woman was about to have a stroke with how I don't want, passion is usually something that I attribute to good things, but in this case, I'm going to say that woman was passionate about her racism. She was, So I think, how do I want to say this? She started off with, hold on, I'm looking for a brush for my blush. She started off, let me think for a second. Okay, I just had to rewatch it. So she starts off saying that why did he have to do it in Spanish? That's not very unifying. There's only, and then she puts out a number. She said, and I don't know if that's true, but there's only 40,000 or 40 million Spanish speakers and over 300 something million non-Spanish speakers. I don't know if those, I haven't checked to see if that is true or not. Let's just assume it is. So she says it's a huge middle finger to the rest of America. So that's what she says. And then she goes on to say it's supposed to be unifying. Not for the Latinas. She said it just like that. Latinas. You know, not just for a small group. It's supposed to be for everyone. It's supposed to be American. That's why they call it American football. And then Piers goes on to say, very calmly, by the way, because I would be laughing in this woman's face if I was Piers, but he goes on to say calmly, what is the national language of America, of the United States of America? And she goes on, first she says English, and then she proceeds to say, it's been trying to be, we've been petitioning, or it has been petitioned to be the national language. But Piers, cuts her off and says, the answer is no. Which I would say that too. There's no, but we've been petitioning for it. The answer is no. English is not the national language of the United States. Okay? So then she goes on to say, we need to keep it apple pie and meatloaf. Okay? We need to keep it apple pie and meatloaf. I'm paraphrasing. I'm going in with foundation, by the way, now. I haven't done any foundation yet. I'm using NARS. We need to keep it apple pie and meatloaf. And these are two things when I think, like, just on the surface, when I think of American, well, let me rephrase that. My brain can't wrap around what an American looks like. Yours shouldn't be able to either. Because Americans don't look like you and I. They look like you, I, that guy, that woman, that child. Woo, 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 woo. All different skin colors, all different hair colors, all different eye colors, all different body types, all different languages. Because it's a melting pot. The United States of America used to be proud of that. Okay? Used to be, y'all other countries, no one can move to Japan and be Japanese. Okay? No one can move to France and be a Frenchman. Okay? But you can come to America, the United States of America, and you can be American. But Megyn Kelly wants you to believe, or wants her base to believe, and is trying to tell all of us that you can't look like Bad Bunny and be American. You can't speak Spanish and be American. And then she goes, and then, she's talking about apple pie and meatloaf. And then, and this is what gets me. She comes after Piers after he, chuckles a little bit when, he tells her no. English is not the official or the national language of the United States. She comes after and says, that's why Great Britain has lost their culture. She says, because you let the Muslims, and she names another group of people, take your culture. And then that was my, let's just forget everything that she has said before this, because I was getting heated already when she said Latinos. Like, bitch, what? Okay, I had already decided. I was trying to keep my listening ears on after she said that, because after she said that, in my mind, X out Megyn. There's no coming back from this girl. But like I said, then she had the audacity to say that Great Britain has lost their culture because they let in Muslims, and what else did she say? Let me look real quick. Oh, I forgot that too. She brings up Jay-Z and says he's a problem because he's in the Epstein files. And why should he have a say about who plays at our football events? You know who else is in the Epstein files? To say, I'm watching this in real time. She goes on, or rewatching it in real time. She goes on to say American football has to say quintessentially American, not Muslim, not Latino, good old-fashioned American pie. Now, if you Google, because I was like, Now, this woman is racist, right? So I'm thinking she's going to say anything that proves a point. Apple pie is not American. Google it. Hey, Google. Where is apple pie from?
England. The first recorded recipe appeared there in 1381, though it evolved from earlier European traditions. Would you like a classic recipe for one?
Let's continue.
Spanish speakers in the United States.
All right, continuing to watch. Piers then calls her out and says, so you just admitted you don't have a national language. Why do you want to take my language? Because remember, she had just said that Britain lost her culture, which I'm going to get into. This is a long video, you guys, I'm sorry. But she had just said, a little clip before that Britain had lost her culture because they let basically immigrants in with different cultures in. And they lost their culture. They've lost everything. They've gone to pot. So Piers says, and I'm going to leave the link down below so you can watch this. Piers says, why does it need to be English? English did not originate in the United States of America. Okay? Megyn's like, if I was Megyn, but then again, I'm a logical person. But if I was getting chewed up like this, I'd say, okay, I'm done. So he said, why my language if you think the country that originated English has gone to shit, right? And she says, it needs to be something we all understand. It needs to be something we all understand. And she says that Bad Bunny is America hating and Green Day is America hating. I've never heard Green Day say fuck America. I heard them say fuck fascism. And I'm pretty sure fascism and the United States of America are not synonymous. They should never be synonymous. They shouldn't even be in the same sentence unless you are saying the United States is not a fan of fascism. And then she admits she's been to a lot of Trump rallies, so that automatically, And he brings up Pavarotti. He brings up Pavarotti and how, he sings in Italian. And no one was saying anything then. And she says, well, he wasn't in the Super Bowl. And then Pierce is like, but if he was, would you be upset? Of course I'd be upset, bitch. Is the RNC not a national stage? Anyway, I had already lost respect for Megyn Kelly when she said that, having sex with a 5-year-old is different than having sex with a 15-year-old, like I said at the beginning of the video. I had already lost respect for her, but I don't think she can come back from this. Non-racist white people, are you gonna let her back? Are you gonna let her back? Are you gonna let her back? That's what I want to know. Are you gonna open your arms and say, girl, we forgive you? Because that might be a little hard to forgive. And then through all of this, what I've been learning as I talk to people that I have interacted with in the past is that a lot of them haven't stopped to think. And I think that is a problem with everybody in society these days. Me included, because sometimes I don't think. But we don't stop and think, why do I believe that? Or why do I support that? Until someone with the opposing viewpoint says something that actually makes sense. And I don't think we were having a lot of that. I don't think up until our society was turned upside down that any of us were thinking like that. Why do I believe that? Because there had never been a point where there was something so massively dividing that occurred in our lifetime. I mean, I remember the things that united us. Oh, I remember that. I remember 9/11 like it was yesterday. It didn't matter. It didn't matter what religion you practiced. It didn't matter what color you are, what sex you were. If you were on American soil, on the U.S. American soil, and you watched those two towers come down, oh, bitch, you were like, Osama bin Laden gotta go. I remember that stuff. But it's amazing to me how everybody forgets how unified. When we are unified, we get shit done. Okay? When we are unified, things happen. Okay? That's how half the amendments have been added to the Constitution. Women didn't have the right to vote originally. Okay? And people want to say, like, some of these really far right-wing, and I'm sorry, I said I wasn't going to say left, right, Democrat, but some of these people that represent the right are saying that protests are just for attention seekers and that you should just go vote. Bitch, how do you think women got the right to vote? They couldn't go to the polls to vote for things that were going to help them. How do you think that movement started? Once again, thinking. thinking. That's what is wrong with the United States right now. Everybody, because like I said, I'm a victim of it too, where I'll just be saying something. Like with Megyn Kelly, I was like, that bitch is actually right. American pie and meatloaf, that represents America to me. It's not. Someone brought that over. And that got me thinking, what is authentically American? Like the United States of America. What is authentically American? And then I thought McDonald's. And I think McDonald's was created in America, like, you know, founded. But I don't know if the hamburger comes from the United States of America. Let's find out. Hey, Google, where's the hamburger from?
In the video, Megyn Kelly references the hamburger, metaphorically, when discussing what she believes the Super Bowl halftime show should consist of. She argues that the halftime show should remain...
No, we're not talking about that. Hey, Google, where does the hamburger come from?
While the name originates from Hamburg, Germany, the modern sandwich was likely invented in America during the late 19th or early 20th century. The origins, Hamburg, Germany, known for the Hamburg steak, a patty of minced beef.
Okay.
United States.
So maybe that's one thing that is actually American. Like the idea was brought over, but the actual hamburger is American. But it's not apple pie. And it's not meatloaf. And it's definitely not fried chicken, because she says that too. So. Think, people. Think. Anyway. I'm powdering now. I'm using Glamlite powder. I need a powder puff. If you're still here, thank you so much for sticking around. I doubt a lot of people have made it this far, but like I said, after I witnessed Megyn Kelly make an ass of herself on national television once again, spouting out obviously racist and inaccurate things about what American football should be in her eyes, in her very white, racist eyes, I felt the need. So I think I was talking about the United States, us as a society, not thinking about things. And I think it's a lot like right now with what's happening, where everything politically seems to be focused on immigration rather than healthcare. But that's just my opinion. Once again, I think we should be focused on healthcare. That's one of the things that is dividing us, and I'm not sure why. I have my thoughts. So I was having a discussion, or with someone I know, and they brought up the fact that deportations have happened always since Obama and Biden. They both have deported millions of people. And I think I said this earlier. It's not that I don't support deportation. I think you should be deported if you number one, are undocumented and commit a crime. I 100% think you should be deported. 100% think that. I also think that if you haven't even started the process of becoming a U.S. citizen, and you've been here for, say you came as a child and you didn't start and say your parents didn't start the process for you. I'm not sure if you can do that. I have to look that up. But say you reach 18, you go about everything that you're doing, and you don't start the process. Say you just don't care. That's not correct. Now, if you're an asylum seeker, because there's different levels of entering the United States. And it takes years upon years to become an American citizen, which is another thing that needs to be reformed. It shouldn't take as long. But if you have never, ever started the process of becoming an American citizen, and you live here, you're not, going back and forth or something. Yes, I think you are a valid candidate for deportation. That might be controversial. But I don't think that a masked, unidentified individual, should be stopping you, not knowing that you've never gone through the process, without a warrant, without any investigation, just randomly saying, "Show me your papers." Those are my thoughts. Because once again, I believe a United States American cannot be defined by looks alone. So, with that in, the brain, the next thing is you ask for papers. What, you can ask for papers for everybody? And then I find it funny that it's only brown people that you see getting taken off the streets. And you know how I know that it's only about skin color? It's because Native Americans, the first people, the real Americans, real Americans are being detained. Like in a detention center. Not just like, oh, sorry, my bad. But like going through the whole process of being detained. That's how I know it's not about the immigration. Another reason I know it's not about immigration is that it immediately got focused on in Minnesota. Not in the border states where apparently there's such a bad immigration problem. In Minnesota. What are you looking for, Canadians? You must be looking for Canadians. No, we're not looking for Canadians. We're looking for Spanish speakers. Haitian people. Because why not Minnesota? And this is where you should be thinking. Who is the governor of Minnesota? Oh, right. It's Tim Walz. Who just ran against Donald Trump in the last election with Kamala Harris? Oh, that's right. Tim Walz. Is that just a coinkadink? He must have just, where are we going to put ice? Right there. Oh, it's Minnesota. No, guys, use your thought processes. Like, the president... Oh, Lord. Okay, I'm getting heat. I need to calm down. It was never about immigration. I said it. And that's what I believe. It was never about immigration. It was never about immigration. And there's no reason why you should not be wearing a body camera. If you're going to be doing what you're doing, if you're 100% dead set that this is the way to go, if you thought what you were doing was justified, you would be making sure that everyone knew you were doing it. If you were proud of what you were doing, if you knew there was nothing wrong with what you were doing, body cameras would have been issued right away. But the government didn't even say anything about body cameras until more than 3 people had died. And they realized, oh shit, we gotta do something. The people are rising up. They're waking up. We have to do something. Oh, I know. We'll start putting body cameras on. We'll start putting body cameras on. That's what we'll do. And we'll hope that the American people will trust that we're not going to pick and choose what to show them from those body cameras. Man, my trust has already been annihilated when the first time they lied, that I paid attention to the point where they lied to my face and said Alex Preddy brandished a gun. You lost me there, man. You lost me there. I can never trust you again. You know? I can never trust you again. So, let me know. I've been talking a lot. We're like an hour and 30 minutes into this. I've been talking a lot. Let me know what you think. I'm hoping there's going to be comments. Hopefully, you know, not anyone threatening to harm me or my family. But, let me know what you think. If you don't agree with me, tell me why. Explain it to me like I'm a child. Because I don't understand. I don't understand why people are posting on Facebook that, you know, there's this one blurb where it says that President Trump told the chief of police somewhere that you gotta look into Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. But look at her, 'cause she's pure evil. And they're posting that and they're saying, see, I told you, Democrats. And then I respond, because I read it. I was like, that's interesting. And then I read it again, and I thought about it. And I replied, but you're missing the point that he did this after the investigation had started. So either he was really close with Epstein and knew what was going on, because that was his buddy. There's plenty of pictures and video of them showing them together. So he either knew what was going on, just like the cowards in Hollywood with Harvey Weinstein and P. Diddy. So we knew what was going on. And it wasn't until, you know, Epstein got caught. I believe it was a model that started all of this. It wasn't until, you know, investigation started where he was like, oh, you gotta look at her. Look at her. He wasn't the person to start it. And then I also said it's no longer a Republican or Democratic issue. We're talking about pedophiles here. We should be unified right now. When we're talking about pedophilia, our children, we should be looking past who we voted for at this point. We should be looking at question all of them. I don't give a fuck if it's Bill Clinton. I don't give a fuck if Obama was on there. And I'm a big fan of the Obamas. But if their name were on the Epstein file, you need to question them. I don't care if it's just, oh, I emailed them once. I don't care. You need to question everybody. Why is that so hard to comprehend? Me, who voted Democrat, I think 4 times so far. 4 times, because if I could, I would have voted for Bush. The, not original Bush, not in the 90s, but 9/11 Bush. I would have voted for him, but I wasn't old enough. So, I don't go by party lines. It just so happens that the years that I have been able to vote, I voted Democratic. So, but once again, let's use our thinking caps, people. We're talking about pedophilia. Okay? I don't give a fuck who's it. I don't give a fuck if my next door... Look at my next door neighbor. If their name is in that file, look at my next door neighbor. Okay? I don't care. I don't care. I'm not saying lock everybody up, because not everyone's going to be guilty of something. But I'm saying question them. I'm saying investigate. That is exactly what I'm saying. And the fact that some people don't want that to happen, that scares me. That terrifies me. If you are willing to say, I am going to let something as heinous as pedophilia slide on by because I voted for somebody, I buy his merch, that's petrifying. I'm petrified, terrified, horrified. All the fides. It's appalling. And you should be ashamed of yourselves. So we're at the end of the video. And I'm sorry if you clicked on this video expecting something else. But at the end of it all, I hope it got you thinking, whether you are someone who agrees with everything I'm saying or doesn't agree with everything I'm saying. I just hope it got you thinking. And if it hasn't, this might. So it takes an ICE agent, Immigration Customs Enforcement. Immigration Customs Enforcement. It takes them 47 days to be given a weapon and put on the street in your neighborhood to do their job. And in most states, it takes 6 months for a state police officer to be given a live weapon and put onto your streets. So you should be asking yourself, why only 47 days?